Hi, I'm Bob Havery, and we're back with our series of new perspectives on favorite hymns. This is the season of Advent, so I've chosen for this the great Advent hymn, Wachet Auf, or Sleeper's Wake. This is one of the Lutheran hymns, so it's somewhat similar to the hymn we considered in last month's episode, which was A Mighty Fortress is Our God. So I want to talk a little bit about the form of the hymn itself. They very often follow this. These Lutheran chorales are very substantial pieces, and they're constructed in quite an interesting way. Last month's hymn, A Mighty Fortress, this and another one we're going to cover, all begin with three phrases that are very clearly delineated, and the first one is this. Two is this. And three. Now all of that will be repeated. Come to a quieter section. And we begin to build back up. So that's the hymn that Bach chooses. The text of the hymn is based on the parable of the wise and foolish virgins. That's the one that has the story of the virgins who were invited to come to a wedding feast. And in biblical times, a wedding feast would often begin with a procession, with the bride going in procession often to another town, to the town of the groom. The virgins were supposed to be waiting for this procession to join it and go to the feast. Now, the wise virgins came prepared. They had brought oil for their lamps, and during the night they lit their lamps, they stayed awake, they heard the watchmen crying, they joined the procession, and went to the feast. Whereas the foolish virgins did not bring oil. They were not prepared. They slept through the night. They missed the feast. Now, in Bach's time, there would have been a 60-minute long sermon to explain all of this. There also would have been a major choral work that would have been performed with chorus, soloists, and orchestra, known as a cantata. And Bach wrote a whole cantata on this hymn text called Wachet Auf. Now, the piece of organ music that we're going to hear, he extracted from this. This work itself has two great choruses, two duets for solo vocalists, and a movement for the tenor section of the choir with a string obbligato part. And it's this movement that Bach extracted and turned into an organ piece. He published this in a collection that became known as the Schubler chorales. Schubler because it was published by a publishing company named Schubler. And this particular setting is certainly the most famous of that set of six, and went on to become one of his most favorite and famous compositions. The piece itself, let's put it up here, okay, has what we call an obbligato part. There's another melody that Bach writes to go along with the tune, with the hymn tune, that becomes very prominent in the piece. Now, Bach uses a rhythm in that music that he often uses to express joy. The rhythm is da ba 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 ba, da 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 da. Huh? Da. ba da 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 da, ba 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 da da. Okay? And what he's doing is, I think he's recognizing within the text that the tenors sing some particular lines. You know, that particular verse in translation begins with the words, Zion hears the watchman singing, her heart with joy is springing. And from this joyfulness, Bach gives us this obligato part. The tenors in this, in the choir for this movement will sing the melody in very straightforward, clear notes. It's a little bit slower than usual, but it's... And when we put it with the obligato, we get Bach's wonderful music. So, that's our introduction to this famous and wonderful piece by Bach. Here is Bach's chorale prelude on Wachet Auf, or Sleeper's Wake.